it's time. We're going to dyno our Renesis engine.
It is not a Renesis engine, it's not a Renesis engine either. It is a Series 6 engine out of an FD RX-7, semi-PP, and it's time to start pressing some buttons on this FuelTech and get it making some numbers, and hopefully keep it all in one piece so we can go race it soon. Today we're going to run over a really comprehensive guide of building a race-built 13B rotary engine from start to finish, including all the machining steps as well as final assembly.
So Broomy, just give us a quick refresher course. What's the difference between this and when we last raced? It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while, so it's almost been 2 years, I think. Life getting in the way of this, so ready to go now. The main difference is we now have FuelTech FT600 ECU and the FT Spark CDI unit, as well as a semi-PP engine in the engine bay now, but everything else other than that is pretty much the same. So it's the same fuel system, same turbo, same GDX42 from Garrett. Yeah, everything else is pretty much the same. We've got a little bit more wiring, gizmos and gadgets and that on it because the FuelTech has a fair few more inputs than what we were previously running, so we're taking advantage of a lot of that, but muchness, it's pretty much the same thing. Still got the same Hilux diff. We did go to a bigger, taller tyre because we're going to need that. Hopefully go a bit faster.
Engine back, the driveline's the same, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still got the same Jatco, still got the same converter, which might be a bit challenging because the torque curve's now moved with this engine, so hopefully the converter's still within range. We'll see how we go. Yeah.
So in short, we've lost a little bit of low down torque with the semi-PP.
Yeah, the power band's definitely moved up a bit, so hopefully the converter, we can still get over that torque hump, but there's a few tuning things we can do to get around that if it's not completely spot on. Well, yeah, we've just got to see now. Ramp up on the dyno and hope for the best.
It's time to get a gas mask and some earplugs.
Yeah, it's going to be loud and it's going to be smoky, and I make no apologies for that.
What do you got there, Luke?
Well, I knew Project Redline was going to be on the dyno today, so I went full tight ass and bought the cheapest gas mask I could find.
Is that for Project Redline or Corona?
Apparently this filter covers you from everything from asbestos to corona particles, rotary particles.
Actually, what was I talking about? If it was Corona, you'd have a roll of toilet paper, wouldn't you?
Pyramid of toilet paper. We'd wrap the car in toilet paper. We're going to give these a try. Look, it's only a half mask. Normally, at least this is on an E85. There is a huge difference filming a rotary on methanol to E85.
Oh, it's not even comparable.
But how rich these things run, these are really, in my experience, the worst cars I've ever filmed in terms of fumes. Just complete death sentence.
Why would you wrap this thing in toilet paper? Toilet paper would be worth more nowadays than this whole car would be anyway. That'd be a waste of money.
I was just down at Higgins Race Developments and he went to the servo and bought 2 4-packs of toilet paper, $20.
So I think the price of toilet paper per roll is greater than gold at the moment. It's now a commodity on the stock exchange.
Today on Project Redline, we're gonna blow up some shit.
Yeah, so I was just looking at fuel ratio and just keeping an eye on that, and it was like 11.0 to the dot. It was like a flat line. So it was.
That's the first time you've run it up properly, really.
Yeah, that's the first time full stop. So that's the first time it's had any boost in it. Looks like it was on 15 pounds. So yeah, and I mean I got off it at 7,800 RPM, and it made 377 horsepower at the rear. So it's off to a good start. The target air fuel ratio for there was 11.1, and the actual air fuel ratio was 11.09, so it's 11.1. So I'm happy with that because it means the tune-up that I guessed for it is basically pretty spot on. So it gives us a good idea that, you know, as we keep on going up on the boost now, that we're going to be in the right ballpark. So I'll have a look at a few things on the data logger here, and then yeah, we'll do another run. I know a lot of people would see that and go, geez, it's not making much. I got off at about, I think about 7,800 RPM. You just see it's just starting to tail off there. So staying on it even longer, it's not going to suddenly make more power. And I know the air fuel ratio should be sort of okay there. I stuffed up in the O2 correction table. I had my setting turned off for it to show O2 and that for when it was fuel enrichment. So it ignores it. So it actually had, the trace was actually off. So it sounded right, so I stayed in a fair bit, but yeah, it's all right now. So what I'll do now is I'll do another run with the O2 on properly with the setting correct.
Oh, just to back it up.
Yeah, and I'll make sure it's right. I'll probably do another run at 25, and then there's no use just keep on bidding on a car. It's not a dyno queen. We're not here to make those numbers. We're here to go to the track and make numbers at the racetrack. The best part about the FuelTech with the closed loop fuel timing and that is, when I'm at the track, if I target our fuel ratio is this, and the tune is a little bit out of its window, it'll pull it back to that, which is some of the troubles we had chasing it last few times at the track before when we were racing with the old setup. It was very difficult to chase it manually. You know, we had a data logger with one cable plugged in, and you had your ECU with the other cable, and you were almost writing down on a notepad this and that, whereas the FuelTech's going to do it all automatically. So I don't actually have to think. It's just going to do it on the fly halfway down the track, which is mega. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was pretty rich. I mean, I'm hoping it's somewhere in like the 1050s or whatever, and the CDI unit just burns that all day, every day. So had ignition 1A calls on it before. I know there's plenty of people out there that are saying, what do you need a CDI for? CDIs, oh, no way, just ignition 1A calls, they're the best thing since slide spread. Maybe on piston engines, on rotaries with alcohol fuels, maybe on an E85 like this you might get away with it, but the idea behind this car is this was just to throw together a test bed for the next car we want to build, and that car is more than likely going to be on methanol, so we've just got the big box CDI to make sure we don't have to upgrade stuff in the future. And
just future-proofing it.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, the CDI will give a greater spark energy. This one at 600 millijoules, it's going to fire harder than the ignition 1A calls are, guaranteed. So, you know, if something's better, why not put it on? You know, so that's why it's on there. But all right, time to get back in there and yeah, see what this actually looks like. We might rev it out to 8 grand, and yeah, and then up to 25, and that might be it for the day.
So we've given the Mazda its first beating on the dyno with the new setup, and hey.
Great success.
I think most of the liquids are still in it, yeah?
Great success. There's a little bit of oil on the ground, but that's just my average welding. It's not because we've had a catastrophic failure or anything like that. I know it's cool to blow cars up on the dyno, however, this car costs a fair bit of money, so I'm keen to race it and not just blow the thing up. It's in one piece. It is pig rich. One of the things when we go to dynos, we know that this is a tuning tool. The power on that screen means absolutely nothing. So we want it a fair bit rich, so when we go to the track, we can chase the tune up just a little bit, because just because, say, it's like 10.5 here, doesn't mean when you go and load it up differently at a racetrack that in the top of third gear, it's still going to be 10.5 air fuel ratio. So say it's like a 10.5, we go to the track and it might still be 10.5. Well, then we're in a comfortable setting. We can go, okay, let's pull back a little bit of fuel. But as it is now, really mega happy with it.
It's actually been pretty flawless, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've left it on basically 20 pound of boost. Now, we've got this boost controller at the moment. I think just about everyone in the world runs CO2 boost control with these, and that's what they're designed for. I wanted to see if I could run it properly with the map sensor, or just manifold pressure going into it. Might have a real play around with the PID settings in this thing and see if we can get it to work properly. But yeah, if not, we can go to a CO2 setup. That's what most people run. But for now, 20 pound of boost, rock solid. The reason why we're not going higher on the dyno is A, we're not chasing Hollywood figures. It doesn't matter. And B, I can see the increments from 10 pound, 15 pound to 20 pound. The tune is following the map. So I know that what I've got in there for 25, 30, whatever, we're going to take it to the racetrack, and we just want to run faster and faster than we've run before. Now it's just a case of we've got to find a track that's open to race on, and one that can take the power that this thing hopefully will make, because yeah, they're pretty peaky, and you know, at 9,000 RPM we don't want it to turn the tyres and start facing the wall. That won't be too much fun. So yeah, people in Sydney and Queensland and Perth sort of are pretty much sport for choice for the amount of racing they can do. Not so much in Melbourne for us, but I'm not sure when this video is coming out. However, I think Holden Nationals that weekend, that track should be on song. So I think it's Sunday,
mid-April,
17, 18, something like that. So the Sunday test and tune day, we'll try and lock it in. We'll try and get there to the track. So if you're in Melbourne and you want to see, well, hopefully we can do a pass, hopefully we'll do something, but maybe come down. We might have some merch there you can buy too, support the channel.
Right, so probably the next time you see Project Redline, hopefully we will be at the racetrack. But before then, I just wanted to give a big thank you to Tunnel Vision for making some time to let us use the dyno cell. Now, Tunnel Vision are a well-known rotary specialist, aren't they, Bruno?
Not well known, but maybe in the future will be. But yeah, Jason's the absolute god around this country in tech and barras and RBs and basically anything and everything. So you've probably seen some massive horsepower cars on fullBOOST in the dyno videos, and a great deal of them are done right underneath this roof here.
I think our top 10 best of dyno videos last year, I'm pretty sure every
pretty much everyone was here. Yeah, so
cell.
This is a killer state-of-the-art facility, great mainline hub dyno. So
3,000 horsepower.
Yeah, 3,000 horsepower.
We're using like 5% of that.
Probably. Yeah, probably. However, probably the loudest car that's been on this dyno.
I reckon it might be.
So I want a trophy for that. Yeah. Participation trophy, just like everyone gets.
I'm still trying to work out how you're starting this up in your home shed.
We can have a look at the home muffler setup maybe one day. But yeah, thanks to Jason. Great help. And yeah, we've loved our time here today.
And like always, support the people who support us.